Hey, we're back. Belmont Stakes is in the books, dust settling after the 154th running of the Belmont. Big crowd here at Belmont Park, energetic crowd, enthusiastic crowd, and they were treated to a spectacular thoroughbred racing, superstar performance after superstar performance. The question in the end, who would take home the August Belmont Trophy? That cold, Mo Donegal, 2022 Belmont Stakes winner. This is America's Day at the Races, is always brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Just outside the paddock, welcome everyone. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Of course, there wasn't a Triple Crown bid this year. So what were the stories going in to the Belmont Stakes? Well, it surrounded Rich Strike, coming off that 80-1 win in the Kentucky Derby. He skipped the Preakness. What would he do in his next Triple Crown appearance? And then We the People was established as a 2-1 morning line favorite. Wasn't favored at post time. How far could he take this field with his speed? Lying beneath the weeds was Mo Donegal, coming off that 5th place finish in the Kentucky Derby, and his trainer, Todd Pletcher, a master at getting horses ready for the Belmont, coming off the Kentucky Oaks/Derby. As I welcome in my co-host, 3-time Belmont Stakes winning jockey, Gary Stevens. Gary, Mo Donegal, so how is he able to do it?
Well, he got a clean break for one thing today, and he was in a perfect position early on in the race. He wasn't rushed, but he was close to a realistic pace. They went 23 and 4, 48 and change, so it wasn't a lightning quick pace in the race, but he was always in perfect position, Lafitte.
Go back to the start of the Belmont Stakes run just moments ago, and a little bit of drama right from the start. We the People from the inside post, you'll see he does break sharp, and he does make the lead. But Todd Pletcher had 2 in here. The eventual winner, Mo Donegal, and the filly, Nest, a rags to riches-like stumble at the start, Gary.
Yeah, she went straight down to her nose and was forced down to the inside fence, further back than I imagined Jose Ortiz figured he was going to be early on, but she went ahead and did get good position. You see the winner, Mo Donegal, he's in a great spot right now, and Irad Ortiz just sitting chilly early on in the race.
Flavien Prat dictating as expected with We the People up the backstretch now. We the People, there is Nest, as Gary mentioned, despite the bad start. She's in a great spot. Mo Donegal, stablemate. You see the Rapoli colors mid-pack. Rich Strike, the Derby winner, expected to be far, far back last heading up the backstretch.
Yeah, and he wasn't that far back. He was in a spot where if he was good enough on the day, he could have gotten there from that position. But with the pace the way it was, and you see the filly Nest right behind We the People, and Jose Ortiz was looking to get out, and he couldn't get out, and he was trapped once again coming into the stretch, Lafitte.
You thought Skippy Longstocking would be the first one to make a run at We the People. He does. We the People is going to come up small when it counts most. You can tell that he's not full of run at the top of the stretch. Meanwhile, Nest on the inside biding her time, and on the outside, Mo Donegal, Irad Ortiz, has a head full of steam.
Yeah, and he got the jump on his stablemate, Nest, the filly, and opens up a nice lead right here. Starts to drift out under left-handed pressure here right now, ever so slightly. He was cleared, and the filly Nest, she fought on bravely to run second, and Skippy Longstocking gets up to run third.
Todd Pletcher, 4th win in the Belmont Stakes with Maggie Wolfendale. Look at that, 34 starts right in the Belmont. Make that a 4th win. And from rags to riches, Palace, Malice, Tappert, Mo Donegal, all of them the same pattern. Kentucky Derby weekend, Oaks/Derby, and to the winner's circle in the Belmont Stakes. Todd Pletcher, 4th Belmont win with Maggie shortly after it went official.
The celebrations have been massive, but always keeping as cool as Todd Pletcher, though. Yeah, as Mike Rapoli just said, we saw a smile. Todd, congratulations. Your 4th Belmont Stakes, running 1-2 to boot. Mo Donegal, though, is a horse that you always felt as though should relish this mile-and-a-half distance.
We really did, and the way he'd been training, we're super pleased with him coming into it. I think he ran a better than look 5th in the Kentucky Derby. He was still finishing with his feet underneath him, and so one thing we felt confident is he'd get the trip. And if Irad could just ride him patiently enough, I thought he had the potential to have the best last quarter.
How about Ness? Maybe arguably a little unlucky, but wow, she ran on valiantly.
She ran unbelievable. When she stumbled at the start, my first thought was, wow, this is exactly what happened to Rags to Riches. She was able to recover, got herself into a good ground-saving spot, kind of had to wait on room a little bit when Mo Donegal was clearing her on the outside, and then once she got clear, she she ran very bravely. I'm very proud of her.
Todd, how do you do it? You get these horses to stretch out in distance. You get them to win classics time and time again.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just part of our program, works well for these longer races. And, fortunately, we won 2 mile-and-a-half races today. So just works well with our program.
Todd, massive congratulations.
Thank you.
Todd Pletcher, the 4th Belmont owner, Mike Rapoli. New York native, has always wanted to win the Belmont Stakes. He has been close, but this is his first win in the Belmont Stakes. Gary, what's the significance though, for Pletcher? I mean, running 1-2 in the Belmont Stakes. We haven't had a chance to do a research to see the last time it was done, but he did just do it.
Yeah, he did, and did it with the Colt and the filly, and the filly encountered some trouble. Who would have known what the outcome was going to be, but it was Mo Donegal that got the money. And I think part of the thing with his program, he gallops these horses in long gallops. They're very controlled. The workouts are always very, very controlled. He's always on the walkie-talkie, in contact with the exercise riders or the jockey, whoever it may be that's doing the morning work. And, he does have jockeys come down and work horses a lot for him in the morning. The Ortiz brothers, both very hard workers. So I think all of this fits together with his program. And Todd had said something earlier in the week that Mo Donegal, he's got this long stride and he doesn't pull when he's running, meaning that he's not wasting energy. He's breathing well during the race, and when these horses get into a rhythm and they're getting their air steadily, it contributes to being able to finish in these longer races.
He did it all right on this afternoon. Mo Donegal, the 154th winner of the Belmont Stakes. And I can't wait to hear this. Owner Mike Rapoli, first ever win in a Belmont Stakes with a New York native with Acacia moments ago.
Here with winning owner Mike Rapoli. Mike Rapoli, not only did he win the Belmont Stakes, but you ran 1-2. Mike, talk me through your emotions right now.
It's surreal. I mean, this is 40 years in the making Acacia. I've dreamt about winning this race since probably the early 80s. And this was the one race that's eluded me. And this has always been more important than the Kentucky Derby. Now that I've won this, I can want to win the Kentucky Derby, but to run 1-2 with a Colt and a filly, and to have a son of Uncle Mo to win this, if it wasn't for Uncle Mo, I wouldn't be this good at this game. I mean, he's the gift that keeps giving, and to have his first Belmont winner be my first Belmont winner with my silks. I love Jerry Crawford and the McDonald Racing guys are my friends now, and but it's just so special, man.
The son of Uncle Mo winning the Belmont Stakes, your family here to celebrate. Why is this so special for you?
My family and friends have supported me the whole time. It's not that hard if you like to come here for free and eat and drink, but they've always supported me in my highs and lows, and they were all going to celebrate and have a good time tonight. I get to join them.
And you're going to have even less voice tomorrow. Mike Rapoli running 1-2 in the Belmont Stakes.
Even better than I thought it would be. And he comes out with an entourage and all the family from Mike Rapoli, and so emotional, so invested into the game. And he's not lying. He has said that all along, that he has wanted this Belmont Stakes even more than a Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, and the relationship between Todd Pletcher and Mike Rapoli is something that's special. I think they're more like brothers than client and trainer. They've had some tough breaks in the past, and Todd said that he just, calls up and apologizes to Todd and says, don't worry about it. We're going to move on. We're going to keep at this.
And that energy of his is just infectious, Mike Rapoli.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he can step into a room and everybody gets in a great mood. He's enthusiastic. He's great for our sport, and he just keeps giving.
And now he says he can work on the Derby after running 1-2 in the Belmont Stakes. Mike Rapoli, Todd Pletcher, Red Ortiz, they teamed up to win a Breeders' Cup Classic a few years back with Vino Rosso, but a Belmont Stakes to celebrate on this evening, winding down the 2022 Triple Crown. We'll have much more on the Belmont Stakes and this phenomenal day of thoroughbred racing that did not disappoint. And what's this, Gil? We have more racing?
We do.
We have more. There's more races.
We can't go celebrate with Rapoli crew
Not just
right
yet.
now.
Brought to you by Claiborne Farm. Races 32 and 33. You'll see it live on America's Day at the Races. And, of course, Belmont might be over, but still, no better time to join us at Naira Bets. It's the last day to join, so get on it. Get a $25 free bet for the Belmont Stakes. New members can also earn up to a $200 deposit bonus with the promo code Belmont25. Winning track anytime, anywhere. Join now at NyraBets.com to earn that $25 bet plus $200 deposit match. We're not done yet. Racing's not done yet. Buglers aren't done yet. Riders up for race number 12, $75,000 maiden claimer on the grass. You see the odds with a 2-to-1 favorite. Owl's Rocket. Gary, what would that be like for any rider when you have to get the adrenaline of riding in a classic, in a grade 1 race, and then having to go back in the jocks room, change, and well, you still got a couple more to ride?
Well, if you win, you don't feel like going out there. You feel like celebrating. If you get beat and you're disappointed, you really don't feel like going back out there. But sometimes you can get lucky and go out there. If you've had a terrible day, ride that last race, get lucky and win one, at least go home in a good mood.
So we're going to stretch a little bit here. Fox Sports 2 will be joining. The Secretariat statue, you know, it's going to be 50 years next year since his 31-length romp in the Belmont Stakes. What would that crowd see today? Energetic crowd, well-dressed crowd at Big Sandy, who would go home with the August Belmont Trophy 154th edition. It was that cold. He was sensational. Mo Donegal, 5th in the Kentucky Derby, now a Belmont Stakes winner. This is America's Day at the Races, as always brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. So what was the identity of this year's Belmont Stakes? There wasn't a Triple Crown on the line. Well, it was all about Rich Strike, right? The Kentucky Derby winner who shocked the world at 80-1. What would he do in the Belmont after skipping the Preakness Stakes? He wasn't the favorite. We the People was the morning line favorite at 2-1. Wasn't the favorite at post time. How far could he carry this field with his speed? And kind of underneath the radar was Mo Donegal for 3-time Belmont winning trainer Todd Pletcher. 5th place finish in the Kentucky Derby. Strong contender going in for the Belmont Stakes. And in the end, the fastest of all. And for owner Mike Rapoli, a first win in the Belmont. And he runs 1-2 as I am joined by 3-time Belmont Stakes winning jockey Gary Stevens. Exciting Belmont Stakes this afternoon. Mo Donegal in the end emerging victorious. How was he able to do it?
Well, he relaxed. He got away from the gate clean. He drew a post position that was favorable for him today. He'd been buried down on the inside in his previous 4 races and hadn't got away good. He was intimidated down inside. He had horses on either side of him today. Got the clean break and a great position going into the first turn. And Todd Pletcher had told Irad Ortiz to be patient with him. He said, I think if you know, get away from there good, he's going to have the best last quarter in the race, and that he did.
We wound up with an Ortiz brothers grudge match at the top of the stretch. They had each won 1 Belmont Stakes coming in. And at the top of the stretch, while We the People starts to tire, it's Jose Ortiz with the filly Nest, who stumbled at the start. Irad Ortiz, meanwhile, and Mo Donegal set sail for the wire.
Yeah, the filly, she ran a tremendous race. She got had to hold up at the head of the stretch, and Irad was able to get the slip with Mo Donegal. He drifts out a little bit under left-handed pressure. He was clear, and the filly ran a gallant race to finish 2nd.
Running 1-2 in a Belmont Stakes for trainer Todd Pletcher, a master with this maneuver, taking horses from the Kentucky Oaks / Kentucky Derby weekend to the Belmont Stakes. He's done it 4 times successfully. Rags to Riches the filly, who stumbled and won in 2007. Palace Malice 2013, Taprit, and now Mo Donegal. Todd Pletcher with something to smile about on this Belmont Stakes Saturday. 4th win in the test of the champion. As we say hello to Acacia Clement standing by. Acacia, the Belmont Stakes, your thoughts on how it all unfolded in the end, Mo Donegal's stirring victory.
impressive victory from Mo Donegal today, and to see the excitement, the emotion, the enthusiasm from co-owner Mike Rapoli afterwards, who really has been chasing this Belmont victory. That's what racing is all about, and it gives you the chills to think about the possibilities, the excitement that this sport can bring you. And how about the filly Nest, who looked like she was pretty much done at the top of the stretch? She rallied for a very game second place finish. I thought the top two ran exceptionally well, as Irad Ortiz looks to win the race after the Belmont Stakes with Todd Pletcher, Belmont Stakes winning trainer, Al's Rocket. Irad Ortiz gave this horse a big warm-up out on the track, pretty sharp, getting back onto the turf in here as we have race number 12 coming up next. But that excitement, that energy from Irad Ortiz, you certainly can feel as he warms this horse up for the nightcap. And believe me, Irad wants to get back to the winner's circle once again. Looking at a first-time starter real quick, the 4 just like this, very studdish back in the paddock, lacking some focus. Actually tried to rear up on the track when he first stepped on to the surface. Manny Franco took him right away and gave him a big warm-up out on the track, a gallop to expend some of that nervous energy. And finally, the 12, North Carolina, his first off the claim for Linda Rice. This was a horse who always was a little bit more kind of peaked behind, a little bit more angular. And he's run very well when with Barclay Tagg, a terrific horseman. But Linda's horses tend to carry a little bit more condition. He's put some weight on. He looks stronger today, and he seems to be in the right spot here. But we'll have to navigate a trip from the outside, Lafitte.
Keisha, thanks so much. We saw Irad Ortiz. You can't wipe that smile off his face, Gary.
No, he had the tears after the race. He was very emotional with that victory, something that he really wanted, and he got it. And, yeah, the big smile on his face. And I don't know how he's concentrating right now. Well, I do. He's just enjoying the moment, and I guarantee he's going to go out and ride a great race.
He could probably go out and run faster than Al's Rocket at this point. Irad Ortiz, one of the very best in the game, a second win in the Belmont Stakes on this very same June 11th. Creator, 2016, and today, Mo Donegal. Much more on the Belmont, but first things first, post time. John Ambriel with the call, race 12, Belmont Park.
And they're off. And North Carolina goes right out for the lead. Filoki's Flight now moves up along with Draken. Filoki's Flight and Draken, and they are 1-2. North Carolina on the outside in third. Just like this is moving back a couple of spots down towards the hedge. Passed there by Cheeky Tico. And then we come back to Neko, who is racing in sixth, followed by Al's Rocket, along with Missouri, and Ballyriddim trails the field in ninth. The quarter went in 23-3. And it is Filoki's Flight in front here by a length and a half. North Carolina runs in second with Draken on the inside and Cheeky Tico alongside. Break of 2 to the first-time starter just like this, followed by Neko on the outside. Almost 3 lengths. Back to Missouri, who's right alongside of Al's Rocket. Ballyriddim continues to trail the half 47-2. It is Filoki's Flight who leads here by a length. North Carolina running in second. Cheeky Tico moving up a bit on the outside. Draken is down at the hedge. Just like this, runs in fifth. 4.5 off the lead. Al's Rocket now begins to pick it up. And then comes Neko, Ballyriddim, and farther back is Missouri. Filoki's Flight still the leader here as they turn into the stretch. It is Filoki's Flight in front. On the far outside is Al's Rocket, who is coming on. And then it is Draken. Here comes Al's Rocket up to challenge Filoki's Flight for the lead. They're coming down for the finish. It is Al's Rocket and Filoki's Flight. Irad Ortiz Jr. and Todd Pletcher, they just won the Belmont Stakes, and now they win this maiden claiming event, race 12, with Al's Rocket.
They're brothers. I know they love each other. I'm pretty sure Jose Ortiz has seen just about enough of Irad Ortiz on this Belmont Stakes Saturday, Gary.
Yeah, first and second in the Belmont Stakes, first and second in the race after the Belmont Stakes. I think you're probably right. I know when I was riding against my brother, we rode harder against, not that we didn't ride hard all the time, but there was nothing like beating your brother.
It's like first you turn up the heat on me, and Latruska and the Ogden Phipps. You beat me in the Belmont Stakes. Now this, Al's Rocket on the outside. Filoki's Flight battling, but too much momentum, too much Al's Rocket in the end here, Gary.
Yeah, always in a good position around the turn. You could see Irad, or I saw Irad looking for a way out off the rail at about 5/16 pole, just rounding into the stretch. He found that room, and a long drive gets up in the shadow of the wire.
Irad Ortiz winning Pilot. You know all about the jockey and the trainer. His second Belmont, a fourth for Todd Pletcher. The ownership here with Donegal Racing co-owners Mo Donegal and Mike Rapoli. This is a big part of the story. A New York native who had never won the Belmont Stakes. Mike Rapoli, his reaction, his first win in a Belmont with Acacia just moments ago.
Here with winning owner Mike Rapoli. Mike Rapoli, not only did he win the Belmont Stakes, but you ran 1-2. Mike, talk me through your emotions right now.
You know, it's surreal. I mean, it's this is 40 years in the making Acacia. I've dreamt about winning this race since probably the early 80s. And this was the one race that's eluded me. And this has always been more important than the Kentucky Derby. Now that I've won this, I can want to win the Kentucky Derby, but to run 1-2 with a Colt and a filly, and to have a son of Uncle Mo to win this, you know, if it wasn't for Uncle Mo, I wouldn't be this good at this game. I mean, he's the gift that keeps giving, and to have his first Belmont winner be my first Belmont winner with my silks. I love Jerry Crawford and the Donegal Racing guys are my friends now, and but it's just so special, man.
The son of Uncle Mo winning the Belmont Stakes, your family here to celebrate. Why is this so special for you?
You know, my family and friends have supported me the whole time. It's not that hard if you like to come here for free and eat and drink, but they've always supported me in my highs and lows, and they were all going to celebrate and have a good time tonight. I get to join them.
And you're going to have even less voice tomorrow. Mike Rapoli running 1-2 in the Belmont Stakes.
He's from Queens, Acacia. You see the colors, the blue and orange? Influenced by his love of the New York Mets. He is New York through and through, and he's not lying. He has said that for years, Gary, that it was more important to him to win this race, this Belmont Stakes, more so than a Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, well, now he gets to concentrate on the Kentucky Derby, and I'm sure there's one out there with his name on it, along with another one for Todd Pletcher.
That energy of his is just absolutely infectious.
Yeah, well, he can walk into a room and light the whole room up, and he's put so much into this sport. He's received a lot from what he's put into it, but he just keeps getting after it.
Mike Rapoli finally getting that Belmont Stakes victory in running 1-2, Gary. We're focusing on the winner. Could you make the argument that the filly, that Nest was actually best, considering the bad start and then some of the traffic at the top of the stretch?
Well, I guess you could make that argument, but we don't know what would have happened if she did get out earlier. Mo Donegal, he's a battler. We saw him battle in the Wood Memorial to get up and win the Wood, and he's a horse that's tough. So if she does come out and get out earlier and challenges, who knows what the outcome was going to be. Maybe it would have been a dead heat.
Irad has almost caught you. He's on one more, and he has as many Belmont Stakes as Gary Stevens. A second four-star jockey, Irad Ortiz, standing by live with Acacia.
So excited to catch up with Irad Ortiz. Not only does he win the Belmont Stakes, he comes right back here and wins again with Al's Rocket. But Irad Ortiz, you were pumped up at the wire with Mo Donegal. What were those feelings?
It feels great. It's an amazing feeling. It's a hard work, a lot of dedication. We love the sport. I've been working with the horse all winter. It's getting better and better, so we stay positive on him, and finally we get the winning a really good race, so I'm so happy.
I know that the owners, a big piece of it as well, Jerry Crawford and, of course, Mike Rapoli. I saw you grabbing him over to walk the horse in. Of course, your relationship with Todd. Do those relationships make it that much more special?
I mean, make it special. He's a top trainer. I've been riding for a lot of trainers. They all help me, honestly. I can pick one. I mean, from the top to the bottom, they always help me. They name me on, and I appreciate that. I'm thankful being lately riding for those kind of persons, those kind of trainers. They are top trainers, Todd, Chad, and many more. I can stop saying names. They are top trainers. They give me the opportunity, so I'm more than happy to be available to stay on those kind of horses.
You're based in New York. What makes this Belmont Stakes so special?
It's special. It's home. It's home. For me, it's home. I've been riding here 11 years. My family is here. It may make a lot special, honestly. Win the biggest race here at home. That's our biggest race here in Belmont, so it's special for me.
And another trip right back to the winner's circle. Irad, congratulations on a tremendous day.
Thank you very much, Akas.
Belmont Stakes winning jockey, Irad Ortiz, Lafitte.
feel the enthusiasm and excitement through the screen, Gary. And right after the race, just sobbing horseback on Mo Donegal, making his way back to the winner's circle.
Yeah, he can't wipe that smile off of his face right now, but he was wiping a lot of tears off coming back after the race on Mo Donegal while he was being interviewed horseback. And it's a pretty cool feeling to come back, and I'm glad he's sharing that emotion. Kind of wears his heart on his sleeves. You know when he's happy, and he was overcome with happiness after the victory in Belmont.
And Jose's the same. Jose Ortiz is the same in that emotion, not afraid to show it. And I think that's great for the fans of the sport, for certainly you, the viewers, and those of us covering this great sport of thoroughbred racing, especially on days like this. And that was the thing. It wasn't just about the Belmont Stakes. There were so many big races and 8 Grade 1 events. Some of the highlights all started in the Acorn. Monterrey, brilliant. Flavien Prat aboard. But there's the other Ortiz, Jose, aboard Regal Glory in the Justa game. Sensational Grade 1 victory. And Flightline, unbelievable performance in the Grade 1 Met Mile. That's next.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, ranked #1 by percentage of stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. No stallion has a better strike rate. Recent top runners include Group 1 winner Homesman, graded stakes winners Master of Foxhounds, Ancient Rome, and Bombard. Plus Annapolis, who became his sire's 100th stakes winner. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Sun setting on Long Island. We still have one left. America's Day at the Race is brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm, 100 years, doing the usual unusually well. So the entire program was loaded. One of the best days of thoroughbred racing in North America. 8 Grade 1 events, and it started what feels like, 25 hours ago with the Acorn. 3-year-old fillies and some drama to begin the day here. Gary, Monterrey. You'll notice Echo Zulu is not there. The champion 2-year-old filly and heavy favorite scratched before the race. Monterrey, meantime, Gary, takes full advantage of her absence.
Yeah, and she put on quite a show, and it might not have made a difference with that Zulu in there the way she fired today, but it made things a lot easier for her. She shot straight to the front at the beginning of the race. Flavien Prat was able to control things, and she put on a show.
Absence of Echo Zulu, who figured to control the race, and Flavien Prat did what you're supposed to, taking advantage of the situation and cashing in.
Yeah, and there was a question of how much pressure Monterrey was going to be able to put on Echo Zulu. Well, she was sharp leaving there. She broke like a track star. got away clean. So, you know, we all wish that we could have seen that matchup today, but maybe on another day, Lafitte.
Not the only rocket ship Flavien Prat would ride this afternoon. Godolphin, Brad Cox, last year's Belmont Stakes winning trainer, striking in the Grade 1 Acorn. Echo Zulu, though, there with Joel Rosario, scratched at post time. Gary, what happened?
Well, evidently she wasn't moving like she normally does, and Joel Rosario was called over to the track vet, and he explained that she wasn't feeling exactly like she normally does. And as I'd said earlier on in the day, sometimes when you get that new car and you drive it and it starts getting some miles on it or whatever, and you feel a vibration or something, only the driver feels that vibration, and it's something you haven't felt in the past. And that was a warning signal that Joel, I'm sure what he was feeling is something that he had not felt in the past. And so he did the best thing that you can do for the filly, the bettors, and everybody concerned, and she was withdrawn from the race.
The vet's determining she was a lame in her left front. So the best news that she did not run. Priorities 1, 2, and 3, the safety of the thoroughbred. We look forward to seeing Echo Zulu back in training, back on the track before long. Next up, Grade 1 event on grass in the Justa game. Right from the start, Chad Brown had him surrounded. Regal Glory, speak of the devil, major contender, a poor start.
Yeah, she walked away from the starting gate, didn't get any a good start at all, but Regal Glory did.
Regal Glory, for owner Peter Brandt, who campaigned Justa game, how special this must have been for him. Regal Glory rounding the far turn, cruising with Jose Ortiz, a tap on the shoulder. Her response, devastating.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time. They set a vicious pace up early on in the race, and she was just sitting in the weeds back there waiting, and Jock just waits, pulls the trigger, and it was over in a couple of strides, Lafitte.
Another Grade 1 victory. Took down the Jenny Wiley at Keeneland. Make it 4 straight for Regal Glory. Start of a massive afternoon for trainer Chad Brown. Another look deep stretch, Jose Ortiz. And Regal Glory, she's going to make more noise. Establishing herself as arguably the best turf female in the country at this middle distance.
Yeah, she's skipping over the ground right near. Beautiful stride, and she's got such a kick. She accelerates coming off that turn like not many of them can.
Look at Jose Ortiz. You think he's fired up?
He's fired up.
Think he's fired up? Jose Ortiz had to settle for second on the Belmont with Nest. And there's Peter Brandt, Gary, for him to campaign Justa game and to lead this filly to win the race that lives in Justa Game's honor with Regal Glory. What a special moment.
Yeah, and he left the game for a number of years and came back in a big way, and huge supporter of Chad Brown. They've done so well together since teaming up, and it's just nice to see his enthusiasm in the game, and he just keeps bringing out runner after runner.
Certain horses just get you out of your seat. This is one of them in the Woody Stevens, named after the Hall of Famer, 5-time Belmont Stakes winning trainer Jack Christopher. Morello Gotham winner does not break. He figured to be the one horse who could challenge Jack Christopher Morello. That's miserable for him. Jack Christopher in command from Jump Street.
Yeah, from Jump Street. This is quite a performance he puts on today. And I'll tell you what, Papa Cap, the horse on the lead right now, I read he just eased back, jumped hills, got to the outside, and it was just a steer job from here. And he lengthens and just puts on a show all the way through the stretch. He was a very good 2-year-old. He was off for a long time, came back in the Pat Day Mile at Churchill Downs off of a long layoff. That was going a mile, shortens up to 7 furlongs today, and he just put on an absolute procession.
That's like the head coach getting the Gatorade bath, Gary, in the third quarter. Jose Ortiz celebrating before he hit the 16th pole.
Yeah.
Watch this.
And the Ortiz brothers, they put on a clinic today, and when you feel the acceleration of the thoroughbred, like right here when he asked him the question, why not celebrate? It was over with.
Jose Ortiz. Would you scoff? How would you react if somebody said that is the best 3-year-old in the country in training?
I wouldn't argue that at all. He's brilliant. He's got brilliant speed. And after the race, Jose said that he would not be afraid to run this horse 2 turns. Said he's very intelligent. He listens to what he wants him to do. Said he relaxes when he wants him to relax, and he showed that today. He didn't get away all that clean, but there was a faster horse on the outside. He was able to get him back. get him to the outside where he was more comfortable, but he does exactly what Jose wants him to do when he needs him to do it.
3 Grade 1 wins on the afternoon. Trainer Chad Brown. You saw Jose Ortiz smiling. He wasn't going to be smiling too much about 45 minutes later on the reigning champion Latruska. Heavy favorite in the Grade 1 Ogden Phipps. Why wouldn't he be smiling? Because Latruska is at her best when she establishes the lead, but Jose's brother with search results all over Latruska up the backstretch, Gary.
All over from the word go, and Latruska, she likes to get loose on the lead. They were flying early on, like sprint fractions in this route race, and as soon as he got Latruska to relax a little bit, she was attacked again.
Took the starch out of her. Latruska, the defending champ, is spent. Search results runs a huge race, but look out for Joel Rosario down the center of the track with Clairiere.
Yeah, and Clairiere, she went off at 9-2 in this race, which was a gift. The speed duel did develop. Gets up in the last couple of strides to get up and get her nose down Clairiere.
And the other champion in the race, Malathot, she stepped up in a big way and just got outrun by the beautifully bred Clairiere.
Yeah, wound up being a great match race in the end, at last 16th of a mile here, but the plate was set for them with the fast fractions early on.
Is that what you expected at the top of the stretch when you saw search results hounding Latruska? Did you think that she was still brilliant enough, good enough to shrug her off, go about her business, and finish strong?
No, I thought that midway down the backside that they were done for with the early fractions that they lit up on the board. It's different if you're setting fast fractions by yourself and entertaining, being able to do it comfortably. But Latruska never was happy down the backside with the pressure she was getting.
Joel Rosario says, thank you very much. Being led in by Barbara Banke. Assistant trainer Scott Blasi, and the highs and lows of thoroughbred racing for Scott Blasi. Steve Asmussen first is the champion. Echo Zulu getting scratched at the gate before the Acorn, but then they get to celebrate an Ogden Phipps win with Clairiere.
That's the name of this game, is you dust off, you go back, put your boots back on, go out and do it again. That's what the horse racing is all about, and that's what these beautiful thoroughbreds, they love doing what they're doing.
That was a Breeders' Cup Challenge event, winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup Distaff. About 35 minutes later, Breeders' Cup Challenge event, winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Arrest Me Red contender, right on top of the pace. Casa Creed won last year's Jaipur, right? Winless since 0 for 5, Gary. And look at this turf riding clinic put on by Luis Saez.
Yes, it was. And Casa Creed has been unlucky in a couple of photos this year because of his running style. He gets out, he's tough to get running and get somewhere to go. You see him swing out right here. It looks like it's going to be too late, but Casa Creed, his last 100 yards of every race that he runs is just powerful. He's a sprint specialist and a sprint riding specialist on his back.
Amazing how he shows up in this specific race, Casa Creed. And I was wondering at this point about traffic, Luis Saez, he looks like he's hemmed in, Gary.
Yeah, he does, and he was actually, but he had the confidence. He thought he was going to get through on the rail. It started tightening up on that fence. He had to swing him out, and it looked like it was too late to get up. But hard run, hard ride, and he's paid dividends for it.
Is that a gamble, Gary, and he got lucky, or more of a calculated risk?
I think it's a calculated risk. He was buried down inside. He gets, it seems like all year long that he's got these draws, and the horse comes from off the pace, and he's trapped down inside, and these speed horses are backing up in his face. He has to wait for room. Well, he didn't have to wait as long as he's had to wait in a couple of races this year where he didn't get through and came and was beating noses, heads, in some big races overseas. And this horse deserved to win this race today.
Owned by Lee Einseidler. You saw him being led into the winner's circle. Luis Saez, Casa Creed, trained by the Hall of Famer Bill Mott, victorious in the Jaipur. Now, Bill Mott had a serious contender in the Met Mile as well. Speaker's Corner. Winning you're in Breeders' Cup Challenge event for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, but Flightline, wow. Spent a lot of energy pre-race, some antics in the paddock. What would he have left, Gary? Then a poor break, and then he got shut off shortly thereafter.
Yeah, he got that poor break, and I'm sorry, we've lost our feed here right now.
And I blame you. It was so memorable, though, Gary. What do you remember most about the Met Mile with Flightline through the stretch?
I remember the whole race. It was a brilliant race because you don't see horses get shut off 2 different times during a race, get to the outside, horses of this caliber, and then come back and win like he goes on and wins. Put on a show, ran 132 and change. I haven't seen a horse like this in my lifetime. I've seen film of horse, but this horse, what he does here, he's only raced 4 times, and each race he has improved. He has little niggles here, little hiccups here where he has to stop training on him, but he's brilliant in the mornings, and he's even more brilliant in the afternoons.
You hate to be prisoner of the moment, right? This is otherworldly, what he's doing, how fast he's running, racking up triple-digit buyer speed figures. So he travels for the first time, coast to coast, had not raced since the day after Christmas, the Grade 1 Malibu at Santa Anita. Again, so he's spending a lot of energy pre-race. That bad start from the rail, getting sawed off shortly thereafter by a very aggressive ride, Alvarado on Speaker's Corner, and still handling that field that easily.
Yeah, he's a great athlete. He's a great physique to look at. Beautiful stride, perfectly balanced, and he's got intelligence. This was the first time he had shipped out of California, so this was all new to him. He arrived here at Belmont Park, and it looked like he'd done it 1,000 times. Traveled by air, new surroundings, didn't bother him any whatsoever.
Lights out, Flightline. Knocked out the electricity, plugged into our monitor. What do you remember about the Grade 1 Manhattan, Gary, where Tribhuvan, again, because what do you remember? We can't see it. One of the biggest turf races in North America. Chad Brown had 3 of them going in, trying to figure out the pace, who would make the lead from the very start. One of the anticipated pace setters got left, Channel Maker, opening the door for a long shot by the name of Tribhuvan.
Tribhuvan, yeah, for Chad Brown, and he had the favorite in Gufo. Well, the pace was slowed down, and he was able to get the slip in this 1.5-mile race going around the far turn. He opened up an insurmountable lead through the stretch, continued on, and won actually very, very easily today, Lafitte.
Top of the stretch. Could you tell, was this like he's a 19-to-1 shot, he's going to come back? Or could you tell when you were watching the race, okay, this guy's getting confident and stronger as this race goes on?
Well, down the backside, he was very, very comfortable, and he had been left alone on the lead. They were able to control the pace, slow it down, and when they hit the turn, he's a very good turn runner, and he accelerated in the middle of that turn and into the stretch. He opened up an insurmountable lead coming off of the stretch, and I knew it was over with about 3 furlongs from home.
We see Chad Brown win big races with the Ortiz brothers. Flavien Prat. This one with Manny Franco. While some of the other riders have been out of town, riding in derbies, riding in Preaknesses, Franco has been here in New York. Remember, he won that Belmont with Tiz Law. And Brown's been going to Franco more and more often. How significant is this win? A Grade 1 win, Manny Franco, and a long shot for Chad Brown Tribhuvan.
It's huge. And, you know, sometimes they forget about the long shot that's out there. People think, the other riders say, this is just a pacemaker. We're going to leave him alone, and you can get the jump on him, and that's exactly what he did. It was a brilliant ride, and the horse ran brilliant today.
Do you think that this is a sign of things to come? Like, is he going to be a force in this long-distance turf division, Tribhuvan, or was that a little fluky in your opinion?
I don't think it was a fluke, but riders are going to respect him the next time. They're not going to let him get away with what he got away with, I don't think, unless he completely turns this corner, but they're not going to let him get away with what he got away with today.
So we had upsets, at least one of them, some drama, memorable, remarkable performances on this Belmont Stakes Saturday. Again, we didn't say it was one of the best days of racing in North America for nothing. A memorable day, and one that we'll be unpacking and continue to cover here on America's Day at the races, and still have one live race left. 13th and final for New York's biggest day of racing. We have New York breds to close the show. Horses are on the track, and you'll see it next. Fillies and mares going 6.5 furlongs. Another turf sprint. Favorite drawn towards the outside. Palace Gossip. Flavien Prat seeking another win on this Belmont Stakes Saturday. We'll be right back. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
It is was just put together like a machine, and he had a great mind. Everything about him was what you'd want.
Tis the Law pops the cork in the champagne. Tis the Law is going to win the first leg of the Triple Crown.
I've never seen him get tired.
Respect the law. Tis the Law.
His structure is just perfect. His bone is perfect.
He's left the others behind. He's going to win the Run Happy Travers.
He's everything you would look for in a horse.
The ultimate accolade for a racehorse is to be named Horse of the Year. To be enshrined to the Hall of Fame is to achieve immortality. As a stallion, genetic immortality is defined in 2 words: breed shaper, plain and simple. 2-time Horse of the Year and Hall of Fame inductee, Curlin is just that. Breed shaper, Curlin, the classic sire.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
We take pride in what we do.
I'm an assistant trainer.
Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom.
I love what I do.
We are New York Racing.
New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.
He blazed an exceptional trail both on and off the track. 35 years ago, Gulch captured his first Met Mile and is the only horse to win consecutive editions since. Only 5 other horses in 129 years have accomplished this feat. 4 of them, Forgo, Stymie, Devil Diver, and Equipoise, are in the Hall of Fame. Trained by Hall of Famer Leroy Jolly, Gulch won the Grade 3 Tremont Stakes in his second start and became a multiple Grade 1 winner on the New York circuit after capturing the Hopeful and Futurity Stakes. Bred and raced by Peter Brandt, Gulch collected 2 more Grade 1 triumphs in the Wood Memorial and the Met Mile as a sophomore, which he achieved while competing in all 3 Triple Crown events.
Nearest the rail in fourth as they approach the wire, it's Gulch. Nearest the rail in front.
Transferred to Dwayne Lucas as a 4-year-old, Gulch collected Grade 1 wins in the Carter Handicap, the Met Mile, and Breeders' Cup Sprint. He was the sport's champion sprinter in 1988. Gulch was retired to Lane's End Farm, and his most notable offspring was 1995 Kentucky Derby, Belmont Stakes, and Travers winner, Thunder Gulch.
And it will be Thunder Gulch!
Pensioned to Old Friends Farm in 2009, Gulch was the oldest living Breeders' Cup winner until his death in 2016. He is represented by 71 stakes winners, 30 of which are grade or group winners, 72 stakes place runners, and his progeny have earned $80 million.
Gulch, owned by Peter Brandt. We mentioned the big afternoon that he had today with Regal Glory, having won the Just a Game, and Brandt campaigned Just a Game. Everything he accomplished and running at the highest level from the time he was a 2-year-old, ran in the Belmont Stakes at 3, right? Long distance horse? No, he wins the Breeders' Cup Sprint as a 4-year-old, a champion, Gulch, and a 2-time Met Mile winner, Gulch. He was an absolute throwback, Gary. So this year's Triple Crown winding things down, the Belmont Stakes just having ended today. A little bit of an odd Triple Crown in that we saw Rich Strike win at 80-1, skip the Preakness Stakes, run in today's Belmont Stakes, not quite as effective. What are your immediate reactions, your lasting impressions thus far from this year's Triple Crown?
That was crazy. I mean, I'll never forget the ride that Sonny Leon gave Rich Strike in the Kentucky Derby. Extremely fast fractions in the Kentucky Derby, sprint fractions, and he was able to maneuver. It was almost as if somebody had a remote and was steering Sonny Leon and Rich Strike in the Kentucky Derby. And longest shot on the board. He wasn't in the race 24 hours before. Ethereal Road scratched out of the Kentucky Derby. He winds up getting in because of the scratch. And I'd thrown one horse out of the race, and it was Rich Strike. I said, this horse has got no chance in here, and he put on a clinic. He showed up, he ran his race, didn't run in the Preakness. I know why they didn't run him in the Preakness. It was all because his trainer, Eric Reed, said that it would be too much for his mind to come back that quick. He needs time to recover mentally after a race. He got the 5 weeks. Look, he didn't run horrible today. I think he wound up 5th or 6th in his run today. But what a show we saw from Mo Donegal today and Nest in the Belmont Stakes.
And sticking to his convictions, outside pressure, not a popular decision to skip the Preakness with a Derby winner. Eric Reed, Sonny Leon, you interviewed him today, really getting a chance to get to know him a little bit and that genuine enthusiasm that he showed, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, in our interview, you know, no one knew except for on his circuit. Listen, he won 220 races last year, so he's had success on his circuit of racing, but the United States, the world didn't know who Sonny Leon was, and all of a sudden he's an overnight sensation. Listen, the guy works hard and everything, and I talked about all of the media media attention that he's received since winning the Kentucky Derby, and I just said some people relish it and embrace it. Other people run away from it, and he actually was enjoying this ride, and we're going to see a lot more of Sonny Leon in the future.
He was brilliant in the Derby. Johnny I was brilliant all afternoon on the mic, and he's not done yet. 13th and final live from Belmont Park on Belmont Stakes Saturday.
Of Thornton and Palace Gossip. Set for the start of race 13. And they're off. And from the outside, it is Palace Gossip along with Act of Congress. Flip My Id now moves up, and Blame It on Mary is up close. Then comes Fontana Freda, who was racing in 5th. No Pain is right there, so Lib down at the hedge. Followed by Happy Hill Lil, then a break of 6 lengths to Vallelujah. Followed on the inside by Shamalama Ding Dong. At the back of the pack is a Lady of Thornton along with Dufresne. The quarter went in 21 1/5 seconds. Act of Congress leads here by 3 parts of a length. Palace Gossip on the outside, next in second, with Flip My Id in the white blinkers running in 3rd. And gaining ground on the outside is a Blame It on Mary as the field comes into the stretch. Here comes Blame It on Mary. Palace Gossip is right there. And then it is Flip My Id, followed by No Pain, Fontana Freda. And on the outside, Happy Hill Lil. Blame It on Mary, along with Palace Gossip. And the two of them will fight it out to the finish here in the Belmont Stakes Day finale. And it's going to be a photo finish in the nightcap between Palace Gossip and Blame It on Mary.
Sounded exciting. Duel to the wire in this 13th and final at Belmont Park. Blame It on Mary, not able to hold off Palace Gossip. Palace Gossip at the 13th at Belmont in a massive afternoon for star jockey Flavien Prat. You saw his win in the Grade 1 Acorn with Monterey, his flight line in the Met Mile, and one more to close the show, Flavien Prat. We're going to see a lot of that this summer at Saratoga as he has shifted his tack to New York full-time.
Yeah, it was a great move. He deserved to be on this circuit. I think it's the toughest jockey colony in the United States here in New York. He's joined this and added to it. You ride against the best, it makes you better. And the Ortiz brothers, Manny Franco, Luis Saez, I can go on and on. I think they enjoy having another top-class rider in this jockey colony in New York.
Was Flavien Prat the king for a day? Was it somebody else? Was it a horse? Was it a human? You'll find out when we come back as our coverage does continue from Belmont Park. Belmont Stakes Saturday. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
It's
Introducing a stallion as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Sun setting in Elmont, New York. Picture a perfect day for thoroughbred racing. As always, our coverage on America's Day at the Races brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Get started at nairabets.com and check out the bonuses available to all members. Palace Gossip in the 13th and final, inspired by a Belmont Stakes winner, Palace Malice, one of 4 for Todd Pletcher. More on that in a moment. Trained by Tony Dutrow. Another win, Flavien Prat, Palace Gossip. You'll see Palace Gossip out dueling to the wire. And what would you say makes Flavien Prat? What do you think he does? What makes him the star jockey that he is, Gary?
Everything. He's a very smart rider, a smart person for that matter. He assesses situations very quickly. He can adapt to different situations very quickly. And he's a powerful finisher. He's got great hands. He can switch horses off, get them to relax. We saw that on Flightline today. It wasn't the easiest of trips, but he adapted along with the horse. And you need the animal that will agree with you and get along with you, and that's a gift. He gets along with any type of horse.
Our viewers can see it. We can't. The results for this 13th and final from Belmont Park. Incredible day of thoroughbred racing. The live racing is now behind us. So now you take a deep breath and reflect on it all and try to put a crown on one of them. One of the best performances, horses or human. You'd figure it would be the Belmont Stakes winner, but when you train the top 2 finishers of the Belmont Stakes, you're the king for the day. Todd Pletcher, a Hall of Famer, 4th win in the Belmont Stakes, the Belmont Stakes Saturday king for a day, Gary.
He deserves to be. What a day for Todd. He continues to have success in Triple Crown races. Look, he worked for Wayne Lucas for a number of years, and Wayne was the king. Todd Pletcher is the king of Belmont Park today.
How does he do this? This formula that he's figured out, running horses in the Oaks or the Derby. He's not running a horse in the Preakness unless that horse won the Derby. He skips it, gears up for the Belmont Stakes, and not just the 4 winners. He's had so many others, Commissioner, Dunkirk, that have run really, really well. How's he do it?
He's a great judge of horse flesh and what their best weapon is. And he places his horses like no other trainer for a number of years. And when I say he's a great judge of horse flesh, he knows what their strong points are going to be. He knows his 3-year-olds. He's patient, takes his time, he's meticulous in his work, and he's always been that. He's been like that since a young age.
Cool and calculated. Todd Pletcher, Hall of Famer, 4th win in the Belmont Stakes with Maggie Wolfendale moments ago.
The celebrations have been massive, but always keeping as cool as Todd Pletcher, though. Yeah, as Mike Rapoli just said, we saw a smile. Todd, congratulations. Your 4th Belmont Stakes, running 1-2 to boot. Mo Donegal, though, is a horse that you always felt as though should relish this mile-and-a-half distance.
We really did, and the way he'd been training, we're super pleased with him coming into it. I think he ran a better than look 5th in the Kentucky Derby. He was still finishing with his feet underneath him, and so one thing we felt confident is he'd get the trip, and if Irad could just ride him patiently enough, I thought he had the potential to have the best last quarter.
How about Ness? Maybe arguably a little unlucky, but wow, she ran on valiantly.
She ran unbelievable. When she stumbled at the start, my first thought was, wow, this is exactly what happened to Rags of Riches. She was able to recover, got herself into a good ground-saving spot. Kind of had to wait on room a little bit when Mo Donegal was clearing her on the outside, and then once she got clear, she ran very bravely. I'm very proud of her.
Todd, how do you do it? You get these horses to stretch out in distance. You get them to win classics time and time again.
I don't know. I think it's just part of our program. Works well for these longer races, and fortunately we won 2 mile-and-a-half races today, so just works well with our program.
Todd, massive congratulations.
Thank you.
Maggie, thanks so much. The winning colors for the Belmont Stakes, Mike Rapoli, Mo Donegal. Gary, in the Kentucky Derbies that you rode in, you won 3 of them. Todd Pletcher, he's won a couple Kentucky Derbies. He ran 3 horses in this year's Kentucky Derby. Mo Donegal obviously did not win. He had to settle for a 5th place finish. How satisfying is it? Point Given, for example, denied in the Derby, came back to win the Preakness in the Belmont. When things don't go the way you expect them to in the Derby, and in the end come back and still get a Triple Crown win, a Preakness, or in this case, a Belmont Stakes.
Well, it feels great. Any one of the Triple Crown races in any given year is a blessing and exciting. And yes, the Derby is the Derby, but the Belmont is the Belmont. The Preakness, it's its own machine as well. Different atmosphere. All 3 of these races have different atmospheres, but for Todd Pletcher and Mike Rapoli to win the Belmont Stakes, it's a race that Mike Rapoli has wanted more than the Kentucky Derby. These 2 are very, very close, Mike Rapoli and Todd Pletcher. And now Donegal, the Donegal stables, part owners of Mo Donegal. I think it's very, very satisfying for them as friends to enjoy this together.
Yeah, the relationship that goes back several years, Mike Rapoli touched on. Just to Uncle Mo, who was a brilliant 2-year-old, a champion, never had a chance to run in the Kentucky Derby. He would have been a favorite. He scratched a couple of days before. So that much more emotional. It means that much more. Mo Donegal, by Uncle Mo, gets a Triple Crown victory in his first in the Belmont Stakes. It's getting dark here at Belmont. The racing is behind us, and the Triple Crown season is over with 3 different winners in the Derby, Rich Strike, the Preakness early voting, and Mo Donegal in the Belmont Stakes. Can't wait for Saratoga. You're watching America's Day at the Races with the sun setting here in New York.
The momentum continues for War Dancer. Following a triumphant Saratoga meet as the #1 second crop sire, his progeny have posted 14 more wins in 2022, like Pop the Bubbly.
And it's going to be Pop the Bubbly.
You Should Be Dancing.
On the outside, You Should Be Dancing, the winner.
And Fun While It Lasted in an 8-length blowout.
Final furlong, it's Fun While It Lasted until the 16th lap has 8 lengths on them.
Now with $3 million in progeny earnings on dirt and turf going long and short, War Dancer is a sire on fire. Join the momentum today at wardancerstud.com.
The Thoroughbred Owner Conference is back in person for the first time in 3 years and is being held in the new 1863 Club at Saratoga Racecourse, July 25th and 26th. Attendees enjoy 9 ownership topics with an impressive list of speakers, along with social events to meet other owners and network, an opening reception at the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, a conference dinner, and an afternoon of racing at Saratoga. It's the 2022 Thoroughbred Owner Conference, July 25th and 26th. See you in Saratoga.
Following C, pouring it on here in the stretch. Impressive to win the Grade 2 Vosburg. Following
save. Smile Happy has kicked it into high gear. And Smile Happy, with a powerful performance, wins by 2.5.
The Club champion, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
You're watching America's Day at the Races, very quickly becoming America's Evening at the Races. Belmont Stakes Saturday, 13 up and 13 down for this Belmont Stakes Saturday. And it was the day of superstars and graded stakes races, 8 Grade 1 events. A little bit of everything as you take a look at the list of winners this afternoon. We did have that big upset in the Manhattan. You had some chalk early on. You had some drama throughout the course of the afternoon. All the stakes winners today leading up to the 154th Belmont Stakes, and Mo Donegal proving victorious, who was actually favored at post time, Gary. Just an instant reaction. If you think back to this day of racing, who do you, that one performance, who impressed you most?
It would have to be, no question, don't have to double think about it. It was early on, it was Jack Christopher in the Woody Stevens. That was soon to change when Flightline won the Metropolitan Mile.
Flightline. Deep stretch, Flavien Prat, and again, it wasn't the way they drew it up on the chalkboard, Gary. For him to have that poor start and to get shut off and shuffled, that can really discourage a lot of horses. And look at how easily still he makes it look, the ears flicking at the wire.
I have not had the opportunity to talk to his trainer, John Sadler. He said he's the best horse that he's ever trained, ever been around. But I don't even think John Sadler knew that he was capable of doing what he did today after missing the break at the start of the race and then getting shut off basically twice during the race. Flavien Prat having to gather him up, take him back, get him to the outside, and then he was able to strut all of his stuff the last quarter of a mile.
That was Costa Aronis that you saw in the image there. That is Flavien Prat and Flightline. Costa Aronis, who owned a Breeders' Cup Classic winner, trained by John Sadler, Accelerate 4 years ago. Aronis, the green and white from California. Flightline's first time on the road, so to speak. He had never raced a mile either. He had that trouble, handled it all with aplomb. One of the most exciting thoroughbreds in North America, still undefeated in another easy win against a very good field in this Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. The colors of Costa Aronis is so much to be proud about following that performance by Flightline in the Met Mile. Acacia Clement is still with us. Acacia, the most impressive performance, in your opinion, on this Belmont Stakes Saturday?
That would be Jack Christopher in the Woody Stevens Lafitte as I stand in front of the iconic Secretariat statue here in the paddock back in 1970. What this horse did, well known here at Belmont Park, and when Jack Christopher came back to the winner's circle after the 7-furlong Woody Stevens, I heard some people say they should have tried him in the Belmont, but there's a big difference between 7/8 and a mile and a half. But this horse just went by everybody else like they were standing still. What a terrific performance from Jack Christopher, who also showed maturity beyond his years in the paddock today. Just didn't turn a hair at anything. And when I spoke to Chad Brown about him yesterday, he said that he is still keen to stretch his speed and saying that the Haskell will likely be the next stop for Jack Christopher and potentially on to the Midsummer Derby in the Travers. As Chad, we know he's really been anxious to get that Travers victory on his resume, and it seems like he has potentially 3 major chances with Zandon and early voting waiting in the wings. But Jack Christopher today, ultra impressive in that Woody Stevens Lafitte.
Acacia, quick follow-up here. So Brown has this serious depth with his 3-year-olds. And Zandon, who was 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. Early voting, who won the Preakness Stakes. Jack Christopher, we touched on Mike Rapoli. He wanted to win a Belmont more so than a Kentucky Derby. For Chad Brown, as you mentioned, it's all about the Travers. Once we get to the Midsummer Derby, say Zandon gets there, say early voting gets there, do you think Jack Christopher could be a 1.25 mile type of racehorse? Where do you think he will thrive moving forward distance-wise?
Physically, I don't see him immediately as a 1.25 mile type of horse. But that said, he's one that just does everything with the utmost ease. And I thought it was interesting what his rider, Jose Ortiz, said in that he really relaxed so well out there on the track today. This is a horse with a lot of talent, and horses with the speed that he has can be so dangerous going an extra distance. Sometimes that tactical advantage will really just carry them when maybe they necessarily don't physically want to go that far, but that early speed, that quick acceleration, that electric ability that horses like Jack Christopher have mean that he could potentially navigate it, even if it's not what he's completely built to do. We talk about sprinter physiques, horses with a physique that want to go 1.5 miles, but there's always outliers. You look at, for instance, I always use the example of Usain Bolt, who did not look like a sprinter, yet was an incredibly fast man. You have a horse like Jack Christopher, who's this burly, stocky type, but that speed, that acceleration is what could allow him to get further distances, Lafitte.
Like a little flight line. Electric, undefeated, 4 for 4. Jack Christopher, sensational in the Woody Stevens. Woody Stevens, who won the 5 consecutive Belmont Stakes. Makes sense to be a race that lives in his honor. Belmont Stakes Day, the Grade 1, Woody Stevens, Jack Christopher. Gary, the Ogden Phipps as well, where we were looking forward to seeing Latruska. She's a champion, right? She's been on this incredible streak of Grade 1 victories. She won this race last year. Could not have been more impressive, but she took pressure today, did Latruska. She's not in the picture. She folded up her tent top of the stretch. Search results softened her up, and Joel Rosario, Clarier, in the end, take full advantage.
Yeah, and it was very reminiscent of the Breeders' Cup Distaff last year when Latruska was hooked early on. She was champion, older filly mare, but, you know, she caved in again today with the same kind of pressure early on. So is that going to be something that's going to keep happening with Latruska? Well, full credit to Clarier and the ride that Joel Rosario gave her. The writing was on the wall going down the backside when they were putting up the splits of that race. I watched and I said, there's no way that they're going to be around at the finish. And Clarier gets up the last jump to get the money.
Barbara Banke of Stone Street leading in Clarier to the winner's circle, beautifully bred by Curlin out of a Grade 1 winner, cavorting Joel Rosario. For Latruska, can a horse have that kind of experience? Because do you think she can bounce back from that? Will we see the best of Latruska that we've become accustomed to seeing in the future after this performance and everything that went wrong?
You know, she's been training very forwardly at Churchill Downs. That's where she's had her final 3 works before the Ogden Phipps today, and she's looked great training. She's been relaxed, very relaxed, and I think she was coming into this race relaxed, but she does not like another horse being in front of her. She fights with the other horse. She won't relax unless she's in front. So that's where she wants to be. So if there's other speed in the race, that's going to affect the outcome of how she's going to perform throughout the rest of the year.
And there's this chase for a 3-year-old championship, right? With the 3 different winners in the Triple Crown races, with Rich Strike, with early voting, and today Mo Donegal in the Belmont Stakes. Cannot wait for Saratoga and what we see with the 3-year-olds getting together in races like the Jim Dandy and eventually the Travers Stakes, because a 3-year-old championship does have to be decided. That's going to wrap things up for us here at Belmont Park. For the 3-time Belmont winner, Gary Stevens, I'm Lafitte Pinkai. The entire cast and crew, Acacia Clement, Maggie Wolfendale. Have a great night, everyone. And thanks so much for joining us on America's Day at the Races. This packed crowd, and they were treated to an unbelievable day of thoroughbred racing. And in the end, it was all about Mo Donegal, Irad Ortiz, pumped up, fired up at the wire. A 2nd win in the Test of the Champion, a 4th for Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher, and finally, Belmont victory for Mike Rapoli. Have a great night, everyone.
He was just put together like a machine, and he had a great mind. Everything about him was what you'd want.
Tis the Law pops the cork in the champagne. Tis the Law is going to win the first leg of the Triple Crown.
I've never seen him get tired.
Respect the law. Tis the Law.
His structure is just perfect. His bone is perfect.
He's left the others behind. He's going to win the Run Happy Travers.
He's everything you would look for in a horse.
The ultimate accolade for a racehorse is to be named Horse of the Year. To be enshrined to the Hall of Fame is to achieve immortality. As a stallion, genetic immortality is defined in 2 words: breed shaper, plain and simple. 2-time Horse of the Year and Hall of Fame inductee, Curlin, is just that. Breed shaper, Curlin, the classic sire.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
We take pride in what we do.
I'm an assistant trainer.
Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom.
I love what I do.
We are New York Racing.
New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.